Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Bad Roommates. And first story today is Anonymous. My roommate leaves bulldog sauce stains all over the shared sink. For those who don't know, it is very strong smelling and leaves a neon orange stain everywhere. She pours the sauce and remaining noodle bits around the sink, basically anywhere but the drain. The smell builds up. Add that to her natural stench and a poorly ventilated room. The room stinks. When I had the sink unclogged, I found rotting pieces of noodle in there. She refuses to open her side's window because she's scared of the buzzing sounds that flies make when they fly into the room. I wonder why flies came in the first place. She has eczema, so she uses tar-based shower products, which smell unpleasant. I understand that it comes from a medical need, but I honestly don't think she's rinsing them off properly, because when she blow-dries her hair, the entire room is swimming in tar, and the smell is suffocating. The smell stinks up the shower room, and I had to change my routine to shower a few hours after her, because the smell would have me gagging. I sat down with her many times to have a conversation about the pad thing, the sink thing, and the fact that she has dirty underwear all over the floor, which has completely blocked my path to the sink area. She ignored all my concerns and told me, "You have agility problems then? I do it all the time." I was livid. In fact, I was so frustrated at her stunning lack of awareness that I slammed my fist into a table and couldn't hold a pen for the next few hours. And I had a written exam the next day. My hand was bruised for a good week. She genuinely doesn't see any problem when leaving food in the sink or her dirty laundry being everywhere. I can't dictate what she eats in the room, even though we're not supposed to eat meals in our rooms. But I was foolish for thinking I could at least get her to clean up after herself. I had post-its pointing to the neon orange stain because she once gave me the excuse that she couldn't see the stain. She would then ignore the bright yellow post-it and stopped using the sink altogether until the cleaners cleaned it for her. She gets sick often, like every week, and when she gets a cold, she calls her father, who would coach her to take leftover antibiotics that were somehow not even prescribed. She studied biology, where we learned about antibiotic resistance. Her father is a chemist, who told her on speaker to take Chinese medicine and antibiotics together for the cold virus. I'm not sure she ever recovered. And I'm quite sure there is some form of superbug in her that's waiting for a weak spot in my immune system. Again, RA is informed because technically medicines are not allowed. Where are you living that you're not allowed medicine? But they can't do anything unless they catch her in the act. Only my roommate would sneeze, and her first reaction is to pop some pills. I wonder how she isn't more jaundiced. I now spend less than one waking hour in my room, so she doesn't ruin my day. I worry for my physical and mental health every day. I'm trying to get through this exam season, which is proving to be challenging, and I cannot wait for the day where I will never see her again. Well, I hope it's coming soon for you. Story number 2, Living with a Terrible Roommate by Professional Sugar 349. So, I, 19 and female, have been living in a dorm for the past 7 months, and it's getting nearly impossible to bear with my roommate. First things first, she has no sense of boundaries. She doesn't have dorm room essentials and literally leeches off me every day. She uses all my stuff. Dustbin, doormats, hand wash, setting powder, toothpaste, tissue paper, spoons, bowls, coffee mugs, plates, fabric conditioner, detergent, bleach, dishwashing gel, scrub, induction, mosquito repellent, heck, even stationery. She lost her plate recently, and now she's been using my plate too. This bitch has the audacity to use it whenever I'm supposed to eat, and doesn't even wash it until after the next meal. Same goes with the bowls and spoons. Mind you, she doesn't own a fork, and even borrows them without asking me. Well, you need to flat out tell her no. Even before she lost her plate, she let her food rot for literal weeks without even bothering to clean it. She went home when she had the dishes in the sink, with all the leftovers decaying on it. She uses my electric casserole to make instant ramen almost every day. She uses it near the toilet, which is so fucking disgusting because she's too lazy to cook it on her study table. She shamelessly asks me for cheese. I guess she's used almost all my cheese slices, like, bitch, why can't you buy your own stuff? She doesn't wash my casserole, and now she's broken its handle, but denies it every time I accuse her. Well, if you didn't do it, who else could have? Also, she lets it soak in the sink at night, which isn't good for electric appliances. And now every time I use it, it simply won't work. I don't like eating food from the cafeteria, that's why I mostly cook with my other friend. This bitch again asked us to cook a portion for her too, all while doing nothing to help. She might sound like someone broke, but this is what infuriates me. Her sugar daddy literally pays for all her stuff. She spends thousands of bucks on a single meal. How? Buying countless designer clothes, accessories, and shoes every other day. Yet she can't buy a plate. I might be sounding like a bad person. No, not really. But she seriously has zero common sense and is disgusting as hell. She squats on the toilet, the commode. Now don't ask me how I know it, because the seat always has dirty footprints. She pees on the toilet seat and doesn't even have the courtesy to clean it. At times, she doesn't even flush it. She peed in the shower once when she thought I wasn't in the room, when, in fact, I was in the toilet. I don't know if she cleaned it. She has zero responsibility. I sometimes clean the common areas because, I don't know, we live here, even if you don't like it. She litters every day. She doesn't have the basic human decency to use the dustbin. Instead, she throws the garbage around it. She still hasn't unpacked her suitcase for almost 2 months after returning from her girls' trip. She even took my beach dress, shoes, and sarong and hasn't returned them yet. I was hesitating while giving them, and she's ruined my stilettos. And not just that, she lacks empathy. She always sleeps during the day and starts studying late at night. I don't have a problem with this, but she starts studying past 11 p.m. every day, after wasting hours before that. I wouldn't give a flying fuck if she just used her study lamp, but she turns on the tube light along with the light in the common area, which she thinks is fair because the common light is in her corner of the room, and doesn't finish until 3 a.m. She doesn't even study, although she just doom scrolls. And if I tell her to turn off the lights, she says she's texting someone, and the light from the screen reflects in her eyes and causes pain. Like what the actual fuck, bitch. She brings her friend over and chats with her sugar daddy on speaker. I'm so tired of it. Yet somehow she gets disturbed if I talk to my boyfriend on a video call. And when I'd left for home, she brought her friend over and let her sleep in my bed without asking my permission. Used my blanket and rumpled it, and didn't clean it, I'll bet. She used my perfume for a week, and I hid my casserole in my closet, but she took it out, like, what the... I hadn't even told her I was returning that day, and she left for classes when I was back. And that's the only way I could have known she used my stuff. About an hour ago, I brought my friend over for a project discussion. Mind you, she brings her friend all the time. And she asked her to leave because she was apparently studying. I'm so done. Well, people have given you some good advice as to what to do regarding getting a room transfer on Reddit, so certainly follow their advice. But you need to just start saying no. Like, literally, just start saying no. You can hide things from her, but if you flat out told her, no, don't use my stuff, don't use my food, we're not friends, we just live together. In fact, let's not even talk to each other. Oh, and maybe take the bulb out. Okay, story number 3. Is this a normal roommate situation, or am I losing my mind? Sharing with a colleague 2 years in, by the sysadmin. I, male 28, share a rental with a colleague, a friend, 34 male. Splitting everything 50-50. It started out fine, but the last year or so has been hell on my mental health. It feels like I'm constantly compromising for him and getting nothing back, and I'm now seriously considering moving back in with my parents because the stress means I can't find any rest when I come home. A short list of what's gone down over the past few months. He comments on everything I do, and every mistake he thinks I make, from telling me how to clean things his way to flipping out when I do something he doesn't like. We clean every Saturday morning, so the rest of the weekend is free. He appoints himself to write the to-do list, then only does the tasks that benefit him. He owns a cat, so he cleans the litter box and nothing else. Well, I clean the entire house top to bottom, wet and dry. That doesn't sound like much of a to-do list. It's more of a you-do list. We agreed to cook and eat together to save money. No. But he can't cook and makes zero effort to clean, so he agreed that you would cook and eat together so you could cook for him. I end up making home-cooked meals most nights after work while he throws together something quick. He also has a texture issue with food, so we've basically the same meals every week for 2 years, and I'm beyond done with it. He makes constant jokes that wear me down about raising my rent, giving me my notice, the way I live, my parents. If I joke back once, he turns it into a conflict, so I've learned to keep my mouth shut. He snoops in my room. Before I installed a lock last week, I used to wedge a slip of paper in the doorframe to check if it had been opened while I was out. I stopped counting after the 12th time. When I bring it up, he denies it, and I can't prove it. Set up a camera. Also turned out he had something on the shared network to see my DNS requests. This makes it so he could see which sites I visited on my devices and such. I hope you were looking at a lot of porn. He complains about our living situation to his and my colleagues, but spins it to make himself look good, that my room is messy, that he's always the one cooking and cleaning. Why aren't you correcting them? I only found out when my colleagues started repeating stuff from inside our house. There's a lot more from the past 2 years. Yeah, move back in with your parents. It'd be better than that till you can find another place. Some worse, some smaller. My question is simple. No, it's not normal. Normal give and take, having someone constantly go into your room, telling lies about you? No, it's not normal. The constant gaslighting, treating you like a servant? No, that's not normal. Or is this as one-sided as it feels from the inside? Absolutely it's one-sided. And if it's the latter, has anyone actually clawed their way back to okay in a situation like this? Or is moving out the only real fix? Yeah, he's not going to change. It sounds like he might be your landlord if he's saying he can raise your rent. Get out of there. Get the fuck out of there. I really don't want to go back to my parents, and renting and buying isn't possible at the moment. The thing is, if you do go back to your parents, that's only a temporary situation, and it sounds from the way you're describing you'll have far more peace there than you will living with this loser. Get out. It's just going to be temporary. There's no shame in it. A lot of people do it temporarily till they can get themselves into a better place, and then you can just take your time finding somewhere suitable, living with a sane person, or if it's another crazy person, maybe a fun crazy person. And story number 4. My roommate is actually the worst person I've ever met, by French Thanos 400. My roommate is disrespectful and inconsiderate toward me and my things, and I can't wait to move out. For reference, I'm in university dorms. Though studio style, we sleep literally a meter away from each other, and our kitchen is in our bedroom. Zero personal space or anything. The roommate matching process for my university was a shit show, and I ended up with someone who was biologically not the same gender as me. This isn't really an issue other than the fact that my parents would be livid if they knew, as they're transphobic, and I'm not even allowed to spend the night with my boyfriend, so if they found out, they would be mad, so I can't even let them see my dorm or help me move out at the end of the year. Luckily, 1 month from now, thank God. This was 3 months ago, so they're out of it by now. She's also 3 years older than me. I'm a first-year student, and she's in her second year, but she took a gap year before starting. I honestly didn't have any issues with her until about a month into our rooming together. Everything was fine, and then I think she got comfortable, and just gave up on everything she was doing at the beginning of the year, and by that point, the ability to submit a roommate switch request was out the window. I didn't even meet my RA until February, literally second semester in, who seemed very concerned about the fact that me and my roommate weren't both biologically the same gender. He kept referring to my roommate as he, and looking between us like something was wrong. Sounds like they're a little bit transphobic too. Making me start to think we wouldn't have been allowed to room together in the first place had I met my RA any sooner in the year, which, given how things turned out, might have saved me from the actual torture living with this girl has been. So, to start from the beginning, I bought everything for our dorm. Plates, cups, bowls, cooking utensils, air fryer, bathroom stuff like soap, dish towels, and cloths. All our measuring cups, etc. That reminds me, I need to get more measuring cups. I had to throw my old ones out, they were a bit rusty. And I'm glad I did, because all she brought was a couple of pots and pans. Because I didn't know what my roommate I matched with would have, and we didn't get to enter the roommate matching system until August, when the semester started in September. Once again, shit show matching process. And she's been nothing but disrespectful toward the things I've bought. She's terrible at washing dishes. I have to rewash stuff nearly every single time I want to cook something, using the dishes I bought, remember? And she's broken multiple things I've bought without even replacing it. She'll use the air fryer I bought. It was really expensive and I'd like to keep it in good condition, obviously, and just not wash it. She'll leave grease sitting in it, eating away at the non-stick protection on it, and then I'll have to rewash it. She broke one of my bowls at the beginning of the year, so we only had one for a time, as I was hoping she would replace it, as she was the one who broke it, and it was literally a $2 bowl from the dollar store, and she said she would. She never did, and said she would keep using that one and only bowl we had to eat out of, and then never clean it. She also broke one of my really nice cups that I bought, and she didn't even tell me she broke it. She just put the broken cup back in the cabinet and hoped I wouldn't notice. I didn't, as it was cracked and it literally broke in my mouth while I was drinking something out of it. What a bitch. And to add on to the being terrible at cleaning dishes, she just wouldn't do them at all for a while. She would cook her food and take upwards of 8 hours to do her dishes in our tiny kitchenette, meaning there would be nights where I would either just not get to eat dinner because she took until 11 p.m. to wash her dishes, leaving them dirty in the sink and leftovers still in the pot or pan on the stove, or I would have to clean the dishes, dry them, and use them to make my own food. We also have monthly dorm inspections, and I'm the only one who actually deep cleans our dorm. Like we're supposed to. She's obsessed with sweeping. She does it 3 times a day, but that's all she does. I have to clean her bacon grease off the stove and walls at least once a week, and she never even rinses out the sink. I got back to my dorm from spending a weekend away from her and had to clean out the sink of food stuck in it, and clean her food bits out of the drain and clean pasta sauce off the wall from behind the stove. She's genuinely going to lose me my damage deposit because she doesn't know what a cloth is. She never washes our dish towels. She just lets them sit there until they get gross and crusty, and I have to put them into my laundry basket with my clothes until I wash my clothes. She does laundry more than me. I don't have the money to do it weekly like her, and every time I do laundry I throw the towels in with my clothes, but she never does. Not an ideal way to do them, though. And on the topic of laundry, she used all my dryer sheets without even asking me, which is a totally different issue I'll touch on. She wakes up so early, turns every light in our dorm on, and cooks eggs and bacon every single morning. And she doesn't even have early classes. There's days where she doesn't have class until after 1 p.m., and she's still getting up at like 6:45 in the morning, turning the lights on, cooking, and then just going back to bed when she's done. She chews so loud I genuinely didn't think anyone was even capable of chewing that loudly, like open-mouth slurping chewing that I can hear from our bathroom with the door shut loud chewing. She also burps every single drink, like she drinks water like it's boiling hot coffee. Chewing is a big issue with me, and I told her when we started rooming together that I don't really do well with snoring or gross noises. When she studies, she sits there and taps her leg with her hand over and over, or taps a pencil against a table or a tabletop, and it actually drives me mad. I can't even sit in my own dorm without headphones on blasting music. She'll stay up until 2 a.m. playing video games on her laptop a meter away from me, with all the lights on, but then some days she'll shut the lights off and go to bed at like 6 p.m., so I can't turn lights on or cook dinner or anything, because then I'm being rude and inconsiderate. And if I want to go to bed earlier, like 9 p.m., because I work a 7 a.m. shift in the morning, I just have to put my pillow over my head and pray she goes to bed soon. Speaking of 7 a.m. shifts, when I get up early in the mornings, I'm very considerate. I'm quiet. I don't turn any lights on. I get ready in the dark and tiptoe around the dorm and leave so quietly she doesn't even wake up. So her getting up early and turning the lights on and cooking isn't her being petty for me doing the same. She runs 8+ hour D&D campaigns in our dorm. I'm not even joking. I woke up at 11 a.m. on a Sunday, and she was sitting at her laptop, rolling a dice, and she didn't finish until nearly 11 at night. I had to leave my dorm so I didn't have to hear her on call with these people rolling a dice over and over. She also talks very loud and has a really deep voice, so it's hard to tune her out or put headphones on and music on, as I can still hear her through them. She also calls her significant other and plays video games in our dorm pretty regularly. But if I went to call my boyfriend, or my mom, or my friends, I'm expected to go outside in the hall, or sit outside the building, or in my car, or wait until she isn't home, while she gets to just call whoever she wants, whenever she wants. What I would love in these situations is someone just to ask them, why do I have to do that when you don't have to? And let's just hear what their explanation is. In most cases, I think they wouldn't have one. They'd just pretend it didn't happen. There's been multiple instances in the earlier days of living together. What this proves is, we'll finish this, but what this proves is it doesn't matter what group of society you come from. There are assholes everywhere. There's been multiple instances in the earlier days of living together where she would just eat and use my food or ingredients without asking. And whenever you hear roommates doing that, they never consider it theft, which it 100% is. We have roommate contracts, and I specifically put in it that you have to ask me before using the stuff I buy with my own money. I'm working so I can afford to live in dorms away from home. I'm not an international student, but shit's still expensive, and I didn't come with savings. We used to split cost on milk, and then one day, she said that she wasn't really using it, so she was going to stop paying for it. I said okay, and bought my own smaller jug of milk for myself. I kid you not, the next day, I come home from class to her boiling said milk to make hot chocolate. We both like to bake, so I bought flour at the beginning of the year and offered to see if she wanted to split it so she could use some. She said she'd just buy her own, and soon enough she had used all the flour I bought and replaced it with whole wheat flour. I don't like the taste of whole wheat flour unless used in breads, as it's just not good in baked goods. And I had to go buy another thing of flour for myself. We would split cost on stuff like 12 packs of soda and stuff like that, and she would just drink the entire box and leave me the last can. I'd also just have random things go missing. I would offer her like one cookie from a pack I bought, and I'd come home the next day to the whole pack eaten and gone. She turns the heat up so high to a point that it's always on, and when I confronted her about it, she said, "Sorry, it's scientifically proven that men have lower resting body temperatures than women, so I guess I need the heat higher than you do." Okay. Which really made me mad because you're going to live with someone who is not the same biological gender than you, and then when it's convenient for you to pull the gender card to get your way. She has continued to keep the heat up so incredibly high all year. She would be leaving the dorm, and I turned the heat down so it wasn't sweltering, and when she was about to leave, she would be like, "Oh, it's too cold in here," and turn it up. Like, you're not even going to be in here. Why does it matter to you? She shaves in our shower and doesn't clean the hair up. I'll have to wash her hair off my shampoo and conditioner bottles. I've even found it on my loofah. And I know it's not mine as I am blonde and she has dark brown hair. Any hair that I'm shaving is either way shorter than the hair I'm cleaning off my stuff or blonde. Obviously, I recognize that I'm not the perfect roommate either. I have my issues, but at least I'm trying to be considerate and respectful towards her and her things. Sorry for the rant, I just can't live here anymore. Just a quick edit. I've read a lot of comments telling me to pack all my stuff up into bins and not let her use it. As great of an idea as this is, unfortunately I'm in studio style with my bed over my desk dorms. There is literally no room for me to put these bins in my dorm, so they'd have to go outside in my vehicle, which would mean I would have to go downstairs and out of the building to grab a plate or a fork or a pan, etc. But fear not. I was blessed with my exams ending an entire week before hers, so I get to pack all my stuff and leave her with nothing in a month. so that will be fun. It is a little too late for me to really do anything about this. I honestly just needed to rant it out to get some shit off my chest. I've applied to a different type of housing next year that will allow me to have my own room and more space to hopefully avoid something like this happening again. Thank you for all the ideas and support. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks she's terrible. I thought I was going crazy. And I will be running my roommate matching process like the literal Navy next year to avoid this. Unfortunately, the OP of this story had some unhinged people calling them hateful and a bad person. I think simply because they mentioned that their parents wouldn't like them living with a trans person. I mean, some people are intolerant, but the OP definitely didn't seem to be. If anything, the OP seemed to be very, very tolerant of a lot of shit. Not just a roommate being trans, but a lot of shit. And the fifth and final story is, my roommate says she's never going to change after I've spent months supporting her. Am I wrong for being done? By External Chair 7613. I, 20 and female, moved in with my best friend, 19 female, because she was having issues with her abusive parents, and I wanted to help her. Looking back, I probably rushed into it. Since October, she hasn't been consistently paying her full share of rent. Our rent is $1,250 total, so we're each supposed to pay around $625. Month after month, I've ended up covering the difference. It's not just rent either. Before we even moved in together, I was constantly paying for things. Concert tickets, groceries, pet supplies, her phone— I think I know why she wanted to move in with you now. Her phone bill, household niceties, you name it. I've also helped her get multiple jobs, but she either quits, calls in frequently, or loses motivation to keep working, thereby making you look bad because you helped her get the job. At one point, I was working 2 jobs while attending college full-time just to keep everything afloat. Meanwhile, I was also dealing with most of the cleaning and household responsibilities. I never really demanded repayment because I knew she was struggling financially, and I felt bad for her situation, yeah, but the more you help somebody out, the quicker you get to struggling financially. Last month, everything came to a head after months of asking her to contribute more, clean up after herself, and be more responsible. I finally snapped. I got angry and removed a lot of the furniture and household items from shared spaces because I had bought and furnished almost the entire apartment myself. It wasn't my proudest moment, but it was the result of months of frustration and feeling taken advantage of. Sometimes being demonstrative is the best way to make a point. Since then, she's held that incident against me, and seems to view me as the bad guy, while ignoring everything that led up to it. Today I thought she was at work, and texted her asking how her shift was going. She told me she wasn't there. I told her she really needed to stop calling in because this has been a recurring issue at every job she's had. She got upset and basically told me she's never going to change. She said she'd rather move back in with her abusive parents than deal with me telling her she needs to work. Then I kind of doubt they were that abusive then. I'd wonder if everything she was telling you was true, if that's the response she's giving you. She also told me, if you want to die for a job that doesn't care about you, that's on you. Oh, sweet cheeks, we don't work at places like that because we get respected. We work so we can earn money to live. What bothers me is that I'm not even someone who loves working. I complain about work like everyone else. The difference is that I still show up because I have bills to pay and goals for myself. I feel like I've spent months carrying responsibilities for both of us, while she refuses to take accountability for her own situation. Friendship has also made me reflect on a pattern I've noticed. I've watched her fall out with other friends after they helped her extensively. I've heard her admit she wasn't a good friend to people who did a lot for her. So now it feels like the same thing is happening to me. I feel guilty because she came from a difficult home situation, but I'm exhausted. I feel used, unappreciated, and honestly resentful. I've spent months trying to motivate her, support her financially, and help get her on her feet, only to be told she's never going to change. Now I'm worried about what happens next. I don't know if she'll move out. if I'll find someone else to take over her portion of expenses, or if this friendship is completely over. It's over. When somebody shows you their ass, wipe it. Fuck it, let's go with that. Also, we are 2 weeks behind on our rent, which is why I got upset and told her to stop calling in. I've picked up multiple shifts to pick up the slack. This is my 8th shift in a row. I'm finally off Thursday, and I still work the rest of the week after that. Am I wrong for feeling like I've reached my limit? Well, no, you're not wrong for having feelings. You're not wrong for reaching your limit, because you have reached your limit. And she's been quite blatant and blunt and finally honest with you that she's never going to change. It's not a friend. I mean, it suggests she's kind of been leading you on all this time by letting you think there was a possibility that the constant leeching off of you was a temporary situation, because we all want to help friends out, absolutely, and we do, but it's not usually because you're supporting their existence. It's usually because we can get in trouble sometimes and need a little help. And you get over the hump, and then maybe you get in trouble and a friend helps you out. That's not the situation you're in. You seem to have acquired a child, is what you've acquired. So, tell her, if she's really willing to move back in with her parents, great. Go do that, if it's really what she wants to do, and you will find someone else to take over the lease. If she doesn't want to do that, she needs to get a job, she needs to pay her share of the bills, and stop using you as her sugar mama. Because you're not getting any of the benefits of it. You need to lay down the law to her. And quite frankly, she's already told you she's not going to change. So, the option here is that she moves out. Doesn't matter where she goes. It's not your problem. You'll probably feel guilty about it if she moves out, but you shouldn't. You've done nothing to feel guilty for. You've been very patient, very supportive, and she's just throwing it back in your face. Get her out. You'll feel a lot better in the long run, trust me. Alright, that brings us to the end of today's video. Big thanks to everyone who allowed me to use their stories. If you'd like to support the channel, you can sign up for my Patreon page, which is linked in the description. $1 or more gets you early access to all the videos at once on Monday. You'll also find a link to my merchandise store, which is over on Teespring, as well as my Discord server, my Threads account, and my email if you need to contact me for any particular reason. That's everything for now, so until next time. Oh, I did mention, I started talking about this in another video, I said, no, save it for another video. Something that was annoying me I came across a couple of days ago on YouTube. The phenomenon of these creatures called LARP tubers. There's one called LARP Replier, and there's others as well. Essentially, it's people performing, mimicking other better, more established and experienced YouTubers, which is just kind of pathetic. It's like you're cosplaying real people because you have no talent yourself. For crying out loud. I hope some of these people, like we all, I mean, many of us take inspiration from other people, but then quickly realize, okay, I want to put myself into this. Why? I mean, it's YouTube, not TheyTube. So why would you not want to put yourself into it? Maybe I'm just an old jaded YouTuber, but like I've put so much effort into this channel over the years. The thought that, I mean, I remember at one point someone literally just made a second Hellfreezer channel, was stealing my videos. And I think it got reported into oblivion because of subscribers. I didn't even have to report them. It just got removed eventually. I would be less patient with that now. I would definitely report them now. File them sweet, sweet copyright strikes. But anyway, LARP tubers, it's such a weird and bizarre phenomenon. And they're getting views for this. But what I don't understand is, well, what I hope is that the ones that are doing this eventually just start to drop the act and they start putting themselves into it, build an audience for who they are. Because what they're doing right now is not sustainable. It's a fad, it'll pass eventually. And it seems to be they're aping YouTubers from a specific period in their careers. But there's a reason those people changed, because even they realized they couldn't perform as themselves for a while. They had to change, they had to grow and become something else. So, well, I really don't like this LARPtuber phenomenon. I'm hoping the ones that are building audiences have audiences that have enough patience and faith in them to let them grow, because you're going to find it becomes quite soul-destroying eventually when you end up playing a role you can't get out of. When I started my channel, I was very, very deliberate in making sure it was quite diverse from the get-go, just so I didn't go mad, and that's why I've been able to do it for almost 11 years. The views might not be there, but my motivation to do it is still there, and that's the only reason I've been able to do it, because I was able to change, I was able to grow. That's why you can see my beautiful face now, because you didn't see my beautiful face back in the day. And I think we should all be grateful for that, because I've only become prettier as time went on. Anyway, LARPtubers, weird. How about that? And that's everything for now. So until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves.